Seeing this week's rail strikes and how it has affected Armed Forces Day. In the news agenda, following comments made by Prince Charles yesterday, is it the beginning of the end for the Commonwealth? And why do so many men have so few friends? Those two aren't linked. Reacting to those stories are my fantastic panel. I've got former Liberal Democrat MP Lembit Opik, royal expert and celebrity psychologist Dr. of a pandemic. You know, we are facing,
Yeah, but that's not the underlying reason. I mean, I'm totally agreeing with you. Let's not pretend the environmental policies are killing the cost of energy in this country. You deal with that, you deal with pretty large proportion of the
Dr. Cassidy, do you agree with Lembit?
Yes, I do. And furthermore, I was just reading there in press this afternoon that Birmingham Airport, by the way, the Director of Operations, I think was the term, is responsible for all the commuting and so on. 49% of a pay rise. Nick Barton, I think was the name. Current salary, £399,000, going up to £595,000.
So this is what annoys people so much, doesn't it? When those at the top of the companies are still earning an awful lot. Is there a case for that?
Well, there is. I mean, I feel that, having witnessed, throughout the troubles of Northern Ireland, we grew up to become almost immune to the tragedy, that was going on day after day. And it was embarrassing even to say that we'd become immune to this because lives were lost. These were people, innocent people, bloodshed. I remember as a young boy, a massive Oxford Street bomb going off in Belfast. And I was with my mother at the time there, and, this massive £500 IRA bomb had gone off. It wasn't expected. But I remember talking to politicians later on who had been there and said, there does seem bodies lying everywhere. Trauma. These were policemen still suffering 30 years after this for post-traumatic stress disorder, fear and anxiety. They'd never recover for this, many of them, And so I can really empathise with what's going on here. And by the way, I was just looking at the Telegraph there today and the Guardian, the Independent. I saw a photograph there of a young school teacher who was ready, pistol loaded, and when I read through that few paragraphs, it made the comment verbatim, if she was being trained, if you see someone there that you think is going to shoot your children, you shoot.
I mean,
and you kill.
That to me is just terrifying. I mean, people have seriously recommended arming teachers in the US, and it's just so culturally alien to me. I just can't even get my head.
Here in London, with regards to young boys, Islamic guys, who's part of the brain, the amygdala, which is very ripe for radicalisation. Now, those young people, I'm told by Islamic psychiatrists, that these people go on to actually become very, very fearful when they're asked to go out and carry out a bombing mission. So they're highly vulnerable, and many of those people feel, look, like I'm going to lose my life if I don't do this. So you have an incredibly profound psychological issue, moral and legal issue here.